Hello and good morning, friends. Today I want to take you with me onto an inspection for a house that's from 1945. Nobody's been here for years, recently remodeled, and there's no records on the county website. So who knows what we're going to be walking into. So I'm going to take you with me as we try to figure it all out. All right, so we're getting kind of unlucky. There's no access caps at all, but there's this very odd dirt patch in the middle of the yard. So hopefully that's where the tank is. The next step what we're going to do, we'll take our metal detector and our probe, see if we can find any kind of rebar or something metallic underneath of this. One thing that we can see though is that the well is actually right here. So because the well's this close to the house, the front yard's super tiny, that means the septic's got to go somewhere out that way. Really hoping it's not underneath that bush though. Okay, so we got super lucky. There is actually something solid under here. And so the next step is what we're going to do is probe it out. We can see here that we're hitting something. So when we probe it out, we're going to take these flags and we're hopefully going to find a nice tank-shaped object somewhere over here. The purpose of probing everything out this way is so we can figure out where's the lid at, right? Whenever we probe out tanks, the lid's always going to be in the middle. So if the lid's in the middle, basically by probing out these edges, we'll be able to figure out exactly where the lid's at. So the next step is to see what we're working with. All right, so we may actually have ourselves a little bit of a problem. So when we probe out the edges, this thing is huge and it does not appear to be rectangular. It looks to be more circular. Generally, whenever that happens, that means we're probably working with a cesspool. Now, 1945, with a well as close to the house as this is, tight lot, the odds of it being a cesspool are pretty high. So the next step, what we need to do is we need to go ahead, dig up that spot where the dirt's all torn up, see if there's a lid. Hopefully there is a lid, because why else would somebody else have dug that before? Once that spot's dug up, I'm anticipating we're gonna see a 6-inch plug. From there, we can stick our mirror and flashlight in. Depending on where the pipes are, we might be able to get a camera to go back towards the house just to confirm. And then we'll see what we're working with. So let me dig this up real quick and I'll be right with you. So I'm pretty sure that's a cesspool because the lid is not super great. I'll show you that in a few seconds, but before we go any further, we gotta confirm that that's where we're supposed to actually be. We go about confirming it is we're gonna pop this bad boy open. Now, I'm not a huge fan of cast iron looking this gnarly and this old. Don't know why when they replumbed with the PVC, they didn't just add another clean out on that PVC stack or go all the way back here and bump out with PVC. But, you know, what basically happened. So now we have to get our wrench, pop that bad boy open, toss the camera through and see what we find. So the benefit of putting my camera through this pipe is going to be so that way I can find for sure that where I was digging is actually the tank. Or at least in this particular circumstance, the actual cesspool. Because on the end of the camera head is going to be a little radio. So I toss it through the pipe to wherever that pipe decides it wants to end, and I've got a little locator. I run that locator over the camera head. It'll tell me the depth, direction, and where I am. So basically the goal of this is just to confirm where we dug is where the sewer line goes. And if it's not, then we get to figure out, what else is there? So I'm gonna run the camera through the pipe real quick. I'll see you on the other side. All right, so we haven't actually run the camera, or we've gotten the camera to the end point, but we have not run the actual locator yet. Looking inside, this 100% looks like it wants to be a cesspool. So you can see what looks to be outlines of cinder block on this side. Might not be coming through my camera very well, but let's go ahead and locate where we're at just to confirm. So we're outside, we're gonna go ahead and turn on this locator, and we can see here that it's chasing the ball. So what we gotta do is we line up, and we say, all right. So now it'll tell us our pipe direction. We'll keep going. And we got 4 balls on the screen, so we are right on the camera head. Being right on the camera head means that this spot that we were digging is in fact where the pipe terminates. Now, the piping between the home and the tank appears to be Orangeburg pipe. Orangeburg pipe is this gnarly pipe that was used before 1970, and basically all it is just wood fiber pitch, and it just kind of crumbles at the slightest look at it the wrong way. This pipe's got all sorts of roots in it, bubbles, and basically what happens is that pipe deforms and it just kind of collapses on itself. So not only do they have to replace the tank, they have to replace the sewer line. Some of the sewer line has been replaced with PVC. I have no idea why the installer would not have just replaced the entire Orangeburg line with PVC. To me, it's kind of silly to only do about 10 foot of pipe when you know the rest of the pipe is hot garbage and looks like trash, you may as well just replace the rest of it. I get it. There might be some kind of cost concern. PVC pipe's not that expensive. The depth of this line's not that deep. The run's not that long. So it would not have taken that much more to go ahead and get it fixed up the right way. So when we're looking at the top of where we were digging, we can see this huge gap in the top of the tank. So this would be very characteristic of a cesspool, just because they would not necessarily have a normal size lid. A lot of times they would have a 6-inch plug or a big 3-foot by 3-foot lid. Either way, because of the camera, we're able to see inside of the pit, and we know, yes, it's a cesspool. Now, in the state of Maryland, cesspools are no longer acceptable for the purposes of real estate transfers, as well as just general use. This particular house has a well that's about 40 foot from a cesspool. The problem with cesspools back in the day is nobody really paid attention to where the water level was. Now, it's October, so sure, it might be working just fine, but let's just say we look at the end of winter, early spring, where we're getting a lot more rain. Maybe it's not gonna work. They didn't really pay attention to the water table, so you could have seasonal fluctuations to where half the year it would work, the other half the year it wouldn't. Now, let's say that you are on the water table. Well, your well's only 40 foot away from your cesspool. So that means that if you're discharging sewage into the water table, guess what you're drinking? Eesh. And there's no UV light, no treatment in this house. So you're kind of playing with fire by having a cesspool on this particular property. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pull the camera back, and I'm gonna talk to you a little bit more about cesspools and their construction. So with cesspools, basically all they are is just a dry well, right? So when we use the term dry well, that's going to be for your absorption system on a traditional septic tank, right? Where you have your tank that captures solids. The dry well is basically just a big pit with dry stack cinder block, and there's stone on the exterior. Now, a cesspool is basically that exact same setup, except for it could also be made out of actual stone, or it could be cinder block, right? I have seen a few where people have done concrete, but that's kind of a little bit goofy. You don't really see that super often. But a cesspool, as classified, is basically going to be a pit that has no separation between liquid and solid. You may be asking, well, but isn't a septic tank the exact same thing? Kind of, right? So the tank's job's to capture solids, and then the excess water goes off and into the absorption system. So that's why they're a little bit different. Cesspools, in my opinion, are not very good. They're not super safe. They're also super old. You could make an argument that some of them are working, but I would say 9 out of 10 times they're actually not working, and you're gonna end up having to replace it pretty quickly as soon as you move in. The reason may not be necessarily that it collapsed, but it could be that during seasonal floodplain or during seasonal changes, like with high rainwater, you could be having backups into your house, and nobody wants to do that. You're supposed to be able to use your toilet anytime it's raining, regardless of worrying about your septic. So our usual guidance is just replace it, right? If you're stuck trying to figure out whether or not you have a cesspool, the easiest way to figure this out, run the cameras directly from the sewer line in the house to wherever it ends, dig up around it, see if you can get to the side. If you get to the side, you see it's cinder block or stone, there you go, right? I know we covered a lot of ground. I hope that you found this informative in some way, shape, or form. If you gained any value out of this, or if you found this interesting, hit that like button, hit subscribe. I have more videos posted every day on the world of well and septic, and I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.